Welcome to Onward 101, a series of short videos to help you improve your playstyle. Downfall is one of Onward's most wide open and long-range maps, and that generally causes problems for lesser experienced players. The most common issue people tend to run into is their own inability to see their enemies while somehow always being seen by the enemy. That can all be fixed by just understanding where to position yourself in relation to where you expect the enemy to be. In the simplest of terms, you'll most commonly see the MARSOC team attack either the right side or the left side of the map. I made another video that goes more into detail about the most commonly used and most effective positions for the MARSOC team, so if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and click here. So with that info in mind, your first step is to determine which side the MARSOC is going to be attacking on before they get there. Here's a list of 3 locations that I've determined to be the absolute best for seeing enemy movement. This building is called South Watch. It's the furthest building in the back of Volk spawn. Using this window, you can observe enemy movement and communicate with the rest of the team where they might be headed. Now, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, it will change the exact angle that you're able to oversee, but the beauty of this window is the fact that it works pretty well for both. This building is called White House. Walking into White House and turning left, you'll see a window that'll give you a really nice mid to right side view. Next, there's a hill just outside of White House. By peeking over the edge, you can get a good view of the mid to left side of the map. It's just a little less visibility because of the buildings blocking your line of sight. A quick tip to remember, on the very first spawn of the game right after the countdown, the MARSOC team cannot choose where they spawn. It's always going to be on A, which just so happens to be North Villa. That's this building here. So using that info, you could wipe out a lot of their respawns early on. Once you've determined which side they're attacking, you can communicate and position yourself accordingly. If you figure they're coming from the right, they're more than likely going to try to take MARSOC north and south. It's a very common and very effective strategy that needs to be shut down before it happens. The 3 positions I mentioned before all still work for catching them before they get there, but here are a few more that are more specific to the right side of the map. So from the South Watch building, the window to the right of the futon will give you a beautiful view from that cross space between MARSOC spawn A and MARSOC North. If you can catch them here, you can probably stop them from getting to that building altogether. From objective building, the 2 windows in the living room area have a really good sight to this cross space as well. The windows behind you and the ones downstairs also give a good view to MARSOC North and South in case the MARSOC team does end up getting there. These sandbags right behind the APC at the edge of the Volk's play space is also pretty effective despite the fact that you're entirely naked from behind. Looking over the sandbags will give you a really good view at that crossing space, MARSOC North and South. Just, make sure you have somebody covering your back while you do that. The next option is, of course, taking control of MARSOC South itself. This doorway, if utilized correctly, can get you a line of sight straight down the lane that they're likely to use to get to you. Keep in mind that they don't have to use that lane, but because of how players are quick to try to get into the action, they can just cut straight through there, and it's pretty likely. It happens pretty often. This window across from MARSOC North works as well. It's just mainly for the left-handed players. The windows directly behind those lead to a corner that the MARSOC team has to turn if they aim to take control of this building. If their goal is to take MARSOC South, they are going to turn that corner at some point. The last spot I could find is this spot right here in South HQ, but it might not be as effective because they would have to come up and over that hill in order for you to get a good shot. If you figure that they're coming from the left side of the map, they're more than likely going to try to take Center Hotel and then push to South HQ. Again, we want to try our best to stop this from happening before it actually does. So my suggestion is to maintain control over MARSOC South so that way you can pick them off from a distance because it does give you a really good angle on it. If you use the window in the little side room of White House, it'll give you a nice view of South Church and South HQ. From time to time, you'll run into a MARSOC player that takes a position on top of the hill under Sniper Tower. That person is dangerous because they can slowly pick apart your team and hold you off long enough to get their team in the South HQ. From there, it's only a short sprint to the objective. If you do ever need to take that person out, just get into the top floor of South Watch, which also happens to be Volk Spawn B, and take them out from this window here. When they start to get closer, you can always use the bedroom of South HQ to see South Church and Brothel. You can also step out to South Church and the boulder that's hugging South HQ to see the lane straight down. In the event of the uplink being compromised, the objectives of each team switch, which means you no longer can play like Volk, now you have to play like Marsoc. Now that you're a part of the attacking team, you're gonna have to move much differently. The enemy team is banking on the idea that you're gonna panic and rush for the uplink. Instead, move steadily and check every possible angle that they could find you from. Sometimes it is possible to sneak past players, or you might get lucky and they're not really taking their positions, but the best way to go about it is to take them out before you can get to your objective. If you spawn A and the Marsoc team attack from the right, hug the rocks on your left shoulder and check the doors and windows of the uplink building. As you continue forward, the door in the corner of center bungalow is going to come into view. Check those and continue moving forward, this time hugging the rocks on your right shoulder. As you move along these rocks, South HQ's windows and door are going to come into view on your left. Check those, and when you're sure they're empty, turn around and peek over this hill. You want to take out anybody that's sitting in Marsoc north or south, and when you're absolutely sure it's clear to move, you want to run up to the uplink building and hug this wall. You then clear the side room out and you disable the uplink. When they attack from the left and you spawn A, you start the exact same, but after you check center bungalow, you want to keep hugging these rocks that are on your left. As you move forward, you want to check South HQ's windows and door, then check South Church and Sniper Tower. When you're sure you're clear to make the cross, you can book it to the underside of the stairs. Because there's likely an enemy around this corner, I would suggest throwing something before you turn it. Then once you've cleared it out, you just sit in this corner here and you disable the uplink. If the enemy team attacked from the right and you spawn B, peek out of the door and check Sniper Tower and then the entire lane down South Church. You want to wrap your way around the back of the building, check center bungalow, and then check uplink building. Once you're sure you're clear to go, you make your way into the valley below. Peek over this hill to check Marsoc north and south. And then when you're absolutely sure you're clear to go, you run over into the side room, clear it, and disable it. If the attack came from the left, you want to check Marsoc south, check the uplink building, and then push forward hugging this wall. As you move forward, South HQ is going to come into view. Check that, check South Church and the lane that goes all the way down. And then you check Sniper Tower. Once you're sure it's safe, make your way into the valley. Peek over the edge and check South HQ one last time before you make your way over to the right side of the uplink building. You do the same routine here where you just toss something around that corner, run in, clear it out, and then you should be able to disable. This has been Onward 101. If you're interested in getting more tips and tricks to improve your gameplay, go ahead and hit the Onward 101 playlist here. Thank you for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one.